This is incredibly important. I have 2 kids myself, so this is something that personally I'm very passionate about. And the recent research we did with Silicon Republic around effectively why are girls not studying STEM subjects actually had some really interesting insights. So the first one was around who influences girls in terms of their subject choices, and it's typically parents and teachers from a primary point of view. But actually the technology environment of the world is moving so fast, it's actually very difficult for parents and for teachers to really keep up to speed on what are the opportunities from a career perspective. The other thing is that the research said that girls think that STEM subjects are for boys. Very interesting from my perspective. I guess I've got electronic engineering background, I studied all the science subjects, so that's very interesting as well in terms of why do they think that. And I think it's partially about how we tell the story. So if you're to have a conversation, girls and boys think a bit differently. I have a girl and a boy, so I see the way it works every day. And I think for girls it's more important to tell the story about what is the impact they would have. So go back to maybe my example earlier about healthcare. If you talk to a girl about the opportunity to improve people's health and make people healthier in the future, I think that is an interesting way to have a conversation with a girl. It's also about who they'll work with. What are the types of people they'll work with? How will they interact with those people? What does a day in the life look like? From my experience, actually, that's what's important to influence girls. And boys work in a different way. And I don't think telling those stories and having that sort of outcome-oriented people is actually as important. So I think it's about how we tell the story. And for us even, as we're hiring now, one of the challenges we see that we're not getting as much applications, female applicants as male applicants, which is really interesting. So I think we have an onus to ensure that we're telling the story in the right way. So we're doing things like working with Girl Geeks. We're sponsoring their events for this year, and we'll go and we'll tell the story. So I think that's a key thing for us. So I think there's many things that we could be doing that's important there. Digital technology is changing the world so quickly. So the challenge can be for educators and schools to be up to speed with what is the latest piece. So I think industry has a huge role to play here, and media has a huge role to play as well in terms of telling the story and continually to tell the story, and the way the story is changing over time as well. Our ambitions are huge. And I think in terms of a couple of the examples I would give, I think there's such opportunity. So maybe let me talk about 2 examples, and I think that will help. So as you know, as part of our investment here, we are establishing an artificial intelligence lab. And one of the things we're doing is we've given a bursary to UCD, the Insight Centre, to work with us on that. And the area that we're focused on actually in one of the specific examples, which I think could have a big longer term impact, is around artificial intelligence and how it's going to change the role of a coach. So you can think about that in multiple angles, from a career coach, business coach, etc. But the specific use case we're working on right now to get to a proof of concept is around health coaching, focused on athletes where motivation to be healthy is not an issue, but it's about how do they do it, and that combination of sleep and activity and diet all together. And really what we're seeing is we're working on this proof of concept to create a tool that takes the static data about the athlete, collects all the data from their devices, so provides real-time information, and makes a recommendation to the athlete as to what they should be doing at a particular point in time. So for example, sleep. But the key thing from a machine learning point of view is that they learn how the person responds when they deliver the information in a particular way. And I think really those sort of things that we can do to get that proof of concept, in terms of that tool, that has magnificent opportunities much more broadly. So if you talk about impact we're going to make, that is one use case that we'll be working on this year, and you can see how we could do more in that space going forward. Maybe a separate use case that's interesting as well. I talk a lot about healthcare, and in a way it's sort of something I'm quite passionate about and something I feel that we can make a big impact on. So we're also working on a project that's looking at the future of healthcare, and it really is again bringing the digital opportunity into the healthcare system. So the ability to collect lots of data from multiple devices, and the ability to apply advanced analytics to improve patient outcomes and improve the hospital system overall. So whether that's talking about the patient journey through a hospital and how long are they at each point through their medical journey, or if it's about the quality of the diagnostics and how those happen, think about the opportunity for technology to impact here, and then also about the cost of the medical system and the overall approach for that. So there may be two really good examples, but I think the key thing about our ambition is getting our hiring right. So for me, I often talk to people about, I meet people, I just came out of an interview now, and what I'm looking for really is that spark, that skills they bring to the table to do the job maybe we're hiring for them for right now, but that magic to actually have that ambition to grow and develop much, much further. And for me, it's about hiring people with that individual ambition, but the sum of all those together creates this collective ambition, which I think that's where the absolute magic is for me. These people coming from multiple disciplines together, combining into creating a collective ambition, the sum of that parts is much, much greater as we iterate over time.